Hey guys, welcome to another episode. Why am I so fucking close to the camera? Anyways, welcome to another weekly episode of Everything Vaguely Paranormal. As always, I am Blake Smith. With me are my partners in the paranormal, Miss Shelley Pruitt and Mr. Ryan Roberts. And as always, we have our producer in the green room, Miss Brittany, pressing all the buttons and answering all your questions. Y'all, have we got some news for y'all? If you haven't seen, there's a new little documentary that's going to be coming out.
And I don't know how you hadn't seen it because I've been sharing it like crazy.
Seen it.
Yeah, God knows we've been talking about it.
We've been talking about it like crazy. So that's what we're going to be talking tonight. We're going to be taking you kind of behind the scenes a little bit, telling you a little what happened that night, what went on, and then also telling you the second night, which you've already heard a little bit. So this might be like a part two for some of y'all about what happened after the cameras quit rolling, I guess you could say. All hell freaking broke loose. So, but with us tonight, we will go ahead and we will get going with this and bring him on screen. We have got the creator and founder of ScareNetwork.tv, documentarian and filmmaker for ScareNetwork.tv, Mr. Billy Lewis. Welcome back to the podcast.
Hi, Billy.
Hey guys.
Dude,
Thanks
you are our first repeat guest. We felt like we should have gotten you a plaque or something like that, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think Billy needs a plaque. What would you like to say?
I'll
Billy?
give you my
Producer
address.
extraordinaire. Okay.
Don't send it to me in the mail.
Yeah, there we go. First repeat special guest.
No,
That's
y'all
right.
don't have to give me a plaque. Just y'all invited me to this thing and helping me out with Yorktown. I owe y'all. Y'all don't owe me anything.
Nah, we love to do it. We've been having fun with some of these projects that you've gotten on, and we're glad that we've been able to help. So before we dive into the documentary, because I know that's why everybody came, we're going to keep them on their toes just a little bit because we can't give all the goods away real fast. So Billy, tell them a little bit about, I know you've talked about this on the last episode that you were on, but tell them again a little bit about ScareNetwork.tv and what it is.
Yeah, so Scare Network is a streaming platform. Like just think about Netflix. Obviously, Netflix is the king of all stream, but in that same regard, but we specialize in paranormal, horror, true crime, and monster content, such as like Bigfoot, UFOs, stuff like that, which I need to do more of that. But we started it in January of 21, and so it's been up over 2 years, and it's been a hustle for sure. But we've been creating some really cool original content. We're starting to pick up some other content from other filmmakers and some other narrative films and stuff. But I love it. I mean, I had never done really anything paranormal wise, filmmaking, documentary, whatever before I did Scare Network. So I'm just flying by the seat of my pants and learning along the way. And honestly, I don't know if I'm doing a good job with the stuff that I'm doing, but people seem to be responding to some of our original documentary stuff that we're putting out. So I'm gonna, God
You're
willing,
doing something right.
Yeah, exactly.
God willing, I'm gonna keep trying to do this. And I'm not gonna get into it tonight, but maybe we can have me on as a 3-time guest in about 4 or 5 months, because we've got some really, really exciting things happening with the platform, but they're just going to take some time to develop, and I'm like super excited about it. So
oh yeah, absolutely.
That's
We
awesome,
can bring
man.
you back on it and push that as well for sure.
definitely.
And
I'll
for
be
those
like
of you who don't know- Go ahead.
I'll be like Saturday Night Live. I think Woody Harrelson a couple weeks ago he was like a 5-time guest, and when you're like five-timer, they give you like a code or something.
Yeah, we're gonna send you a nice little T-shirt whenever you hit your 5th
There you
time.
go. There you go.
Thanks for putting up with our crazy asses. That's all it's gonna say on the front of it.
Yeah. And for those of you who don't know, you can go and download the Scare Network TV app. You can, you can download the app. You can get it anywhere for your phone. What is it? Can you get on Fire
TV,
Stick, Roku,
Fire
any
Stick.
of that?
Fire Stick, Roku, and Apple iOS. Coming up soon, we'll be on Apple TV, and then Samsung and other places in the next 4 to 5 months. That's part of some of the exciting stuff that's coming out with the platform. So, but yeah, your web browser. I mean, web browser on your phone, anywhere you can just type in ScareNetwork.tv.
And it's got, I mean, like you were saying, I'll expand on it a little bit because I mean, I've got a subscription to it. I absolutely freaking love it.
I do
You've
too.
got some
Yeah, same.
original content, like you were saying. I mean,
Yes.
things over the Amityville Horror House. Y'all had that Bel Air. Was it Bel Air?
Belair,
Bel Air.
yeah, the Belair,
Bel
the
Air.
true crime, which was a insane story, and nobody has ever done anything big on it. We were like one of the first ones to do. We did a 4-part true crime docu-series on this, and in our Olde Park thing, it mentioned the kid's name because when we were out there filming this in October, we released the first episode, and it mentioned
Dropped
the
that
guy's
night.
name.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that first episode released that same night we were filming all that stuff.
I think it actually told us to call him like
Yes, to
through
call
the.
Nathan.
It was like call
Yeah.
Nathan.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe it definitely said his name, but yes, you know, I work with Sean Austin a lot, who was just on 28 Days Haunted on Netflix, and he wanted to come out and do the Olde Park, but his schedule just wouldn't allow. And he and I are gearing up, along with Shane Pittman, who was on 28 Days Haunted as well.
Yeah.
We're
Love
gearing
Shane
up to go
Pittman.
shoot another paranormal docu-series up in New Jersey here at the end of this month. It's going to be really cool. Nobody's ever done anything on this, what we're doing. So yeah, I mean, I wish there was 10 of me to be able to create, because there's so many stories and whatnot that need to be told, and I want to tell them. So I've been very fortunate.
Yeah. So you never done anything with the paranormal, and I know the last time when we did Yorktown with you and we were helping with that, you said that you were pretty much a skeptic. Has that changed at all since the last time we asked you that?
Man,
Has
Did
it-
Olde-
has
did
it
Olde
changed
Park
since
help
you've been
that?
with us?
Yeah. So
It's a loaded question, huh?
hold on.
You had to see him won the basketball game.
You know what? Something that I honestly, I don't give too much thought and too much energy to. Although I will tell you, after leaving Olde Park, there's been some crazy personal chaos that has happened in our lives.
Really?
All good. Everybody's good. Everybody's healthy and happy. And I'm not going to attribute to that, but there were some other things that happened. And I know Eric Connor, who played a big role in Olde Park, he said that he got really affected after the fact, and that some stuff. And he's told me, I talked to him last week, he said he was going to step back and take a little time away from it. But that's kind of dancing around your question a little bit. I'm definitely not a skeptic. I definitely believe, especially the physical evidence with what happened to Shelley is the first time I'd ever seen anything with my own eyes happen like that on a shoot that I was on and something I was filming. So I mean,
Congrats, Shelley.
you can't explain that. You can't deny that.
I was never out of anybody's sight. And what's
No.
funny is that I had gone back, and because we had told them that we had kind of gotten a little sneak peek and that we couldn't share anything with them about it. But whenever I noticed that whenever I was watching it through, that as we walk into the kitchen, I turned my head to answer Blake, and you can see it forming on my neck then.
I know, and it just kept getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, do you care? I know it's in the trailer. Do you care if we at least show the picture? I mean, I don't want to give away too much.
I mean, it's in the trailer, and yeah, I mean, that's some of the most compelling evidence we caught that night. But
yeah,
we caught a lot of stuff.
We did, but we'll talk about that first real quick.
Yep.
So we got a picture of Shelley's neck. That
was pretty close after it happened. That was pretty soon.
I think it formed and got bigger than that too.
It did later on in the night. I have another photo that's taken more directly on, and you can actually see it go down her neck and to her sternum. That was the craziest thing to be, because I turned around and Shelley's like, my neck's burning. And she's got all of her hands full of stuff. Like, there's no way she would have been able to reach up and do it herself. She was in my view the whole time and everybody else's view the whole time. And then she's just like, my neck's burning. I'm like, oh, you got scratched.
And I don't want to give too much away, but what's it called? The ovulus? Is that piece of
Yes,
equipment?
the
Yeah.
ovulus.
It was saying some crazy words that correlate with that. Again, with me, I don't know how much stock I put in obvious, and there's some other pieces of equipment, and I'm not trying to degrade or anything, but that's just me personally. I don't know how much stock I put in certain things, but the correlation there was
On several
stunning.
occasions.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Especially when we were doing that essence method beforehand. There's some stuff leading up to that I mean, it's crazy. There's a lot of layers in that doc, so I'm jumping ahead of ourselves.
No, you're good. You're fine.
Good. You're good.
We're taking our cue off what we can talk about based on what you want to talk about.
There's a lot in there.
Well, since you've been doing it now for a little bit of time, is there a particular piece of equipment you like using more than any other?
I really like doing EVPs in a really quiet area and quiet room, because what else can you chalk that up to if you know there's no outside noise or anything? Like, where's that voice coming from? We got a lot at Olde Park, but I remember me and Sean were shooting at Letchworth, which is up in New York. It's an old abandoned insane asylum. And we were down in a room, and you see that documentary on Scare Network too, but we were down in a room where they supposedly would do not autopsies, but brain, they would
Lobotomies.
Lobotomies.
Yeah.
Just to try to, because there was a lot of the patients at Letchworth were mentally retarded, so they were supposedly trying to figure out what caused that to happen to certain human beings and not to others. But some of the EVPs that we got, and it was dead silent in there. I mean, it was insane, the stuff. And it was clear as not clear as day. I've gotten better. The more I do it, I've gotten better at hearing it. But then I have the luxury of going back and edit it. If I've got good audio, if we capture good audio at the time, I've got the luxury of going back and really listening to it. And I can only put on there what I feel like I hear. And even though I put the words up on the screen as an editor and filmmaker, I'm not trying to lead anyone. That's just what I heard, and someone else may hear something different. Yeah, but to me, that's a very simple piece of equipment. It's just a tape recorder, and I know there's different versions of it, but to me, I feel like that's the most effective paranormal thing, because that's really unexplainable to me.
Yeah, well,
and the right way.
Yeah, the fun part about Olde Park though is that you don't really have to use an EVP recorder, because if they want to talk to you, they're just gonna talk.
You'll hear them.
You'll hear them. And that's something that I love about that place. I have to mention them every time that I talk about Olde Park. Dan and Connie, absolutely love Dan and Connie. They are got to be some of the best hosts that you can ever come across, and they're passionate about their building, and they're passionate about their work and what they do as paranormal investigators and paranormal preservationists. And so
and very knowledgeable about their location.
Oh my God, yes. Well, not just the location, but the surrounding Ballinger. I mean, everything, the county, the city, all of that stuff. What were you going to say, Billy?
I mean, you guys saw, or one of the very few that saw, and I actually did send it to Dan. I sent him a private link, and he watched it. But he added so much to that documentary, just because I, as a filmmaker, love telling the history of a building and stuff too, because I feel like that backs up a lot of the evidence and gives it more credibility. When you've talked about the history and you've shown certain things, and then you get evidence to kind of correlate with that too. So Dan was awesome. And what I did with him was a 30-40 minute interview, and he gave me so much stuff, and it was really good to be able to put that in there. So
that's why when we take our groups, and I'm like, especially if Dan's there, just like, so the history of Olde Park, take it away, Dan. I'm like, you're gonna be so much better at it than I am.
Oh, so you hand it off to him?
I just hand it off to him whenever we have groups. I'm like, here you go.
Here's a walking encyclopedia. Go with Dan.
Yeah,
He really is.
Yeah. No, I agree. That whole and I actually I love that was one thing that I loved about the documentary that you did put in there was all the history that Dan could give, and so I think Dan added a really good backstory to what we ended up kind of capturing that night and doing that night. So
yeah,
I've got to ask you too, though, what was your first impressions when you first pulled up on Olde Park?
It wasn't what I expected, because I really didn't do any. I like going into a place like that a little bit blindfolded. So I try to not do too much research or look too much at it, and it's really not what I expected, to be honest with you. But again,
He's going great. I came all the way to Texas for this. Yes, you did.
So like outside. Yeah.
Well, we had to finish up the Goatman's Bridge too, because we had shot there earlier, and I felt like we needed some more. So we had been there the night before, got some other really crazy stuff, and I haven't even. That's the next on the list, is to put that doc together, and that's going to be really good too. We got some really good stuff there as well. But
Nice.
so anyway, so I'm glad that it worked out with that. But to be honest with you, yeah, it wasn't what I expected. But I can tell you, and I know you guys have been to both places many times, I felt more scared and more threatened in Yorktown than I did in Olde Park, by a long shot.
I would agree. I don't feel threatened in Olde Park like I do in Yorktown. At Olde Park, it's just the difference is they're both buildings are going to let you know that the spirits are there, but it just seems like Olde Park's they just constantly let you know that they are there. You know, where there might be a lull at Yorktown every now and then, it just almost seems like there's never a freaking lull at Olde Park.
Yeah, you don't have to seek them at Olde Park. They come to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, going back to me being a little bit skeptical, not trying to give too much away, but when y'all, and I think Dan mentioned in interviews about hearing footsteps and stuff, I was skeptical about that. I was like, yeah, right. And then sure enough, on some of those planted cameras I put in there, we captured some footsteps.
Oh yeah.
That was captured way after everybody. That was like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, and everybody had gone to bed, or maybe a little bit before then. So, but I love being proved wrong with that. So,
I love that you were skeptical about that, because the three of us have experienced those footsteps at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning many times.
Well, and
shall we tell him that little part that happened the next day after he left about my door?
Oh,
about your door. Yeah,
what happened?
Go for it.
So again, we like to walk around as human trigger objects when we first get there. We find that ramps the activity up. So we had changed. We had gone and walked around. Ryan and Blake were about to go back downstairs, and I said, guys, I'm gonna get out of my costume. And I was right outside that door where we were all standing in the hallway in Preston's parlor. And I said, yeah, y'all go ahead. And I closed the door and I put the latch on, and I am getting undressed, and I hear them in the hallway, and I hear them start to go down the stairs. And all of a sudden that latch pops on my door and the door comes open, and I go running to the door. I'm like, no, don't come in. Ryan hears something and he turns around. I'm like, no, I'm not dressed. And the door, actually the latch popped up and the door opened on its own.
Yeah, because I thought she was about to stick her head out and say something,
And he sees me running for the door going, I don't know how that happened. I was like, Deacon, you go to the other room. I'm like, don't you come in here.
Well, that's also, and it makes sense because that's also the same door that like Dan and Connie have on film, just slamming closed. And I think it's Dan is the only one that's in the building at the time whenever it slams by itself. That's an amazing piece of footage. But that was because that latch popped and the door swung open after we had discovered that the latch that I put on my door, because we stayed in the connecting rooms, the latch that I had latched on my door had popped off, because I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and lock this so nobody comes in this way like a guest or anything like that. So that's
But literally, I was butt naked. I'm ready for the oh my God.
But going back to the footstep stuff, it wasn't just me. Eric, and I put a small clip in there. Eric caught some outside of his room, and he he stays up longer than anyone. I mean, that guy like normally goes to bed
Yeah.
like 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. So it was 5:30, 6 o'clock, and you can clearly hear a squeak outside of his door, too. Again, could that have been one of you guys?
No, I don't think any of us moved because
Yeah.
we were in a
No.
connected room and we would have heard if anybody would have gotten up. I don't
Yeah,
think
y'all were
any
on
of
the
us
other
got
side
up
of the
until 8
hall.
o'clock in the morning.
I think we were all dead to the world by that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Now I did put a hey, did y'all watch the outtakes and stuff?
Oh my
yes.
God. Boy, it was butt city on those outtakes. Okay, you guys, just so you know, whenever you go watch this, watch past the credits. There are
Yeah.
outtakes, and they are hilarious.
You can hear
Okay.
me talk about my non-existent ass on the outtakes.
But anyways,
Mhm.
I did put a GoPro on me sleeping, and it rolled for 2 hours, and I went through every frame of it, and I didn't see or hear anything. So, you know, that just goes to show you that now having other locations caught stuff that way. That's why I did that. So
Yeah.
but
Well, generally it's women that gets messed with in the room that you were staying in, Billy. So you were
Really?
pretty safe in that room. Yeah.
yeah, I never felt threatened at all in that building. Like I
I
said.
mean, you could have just got one whole ass cheek cupped, you know, like I did one time whenever I was asleep in a bed. That was
That's
interesting to wake up to. I was like, had my back to a wall too, and the bed was up against the wall, staying in the very front room once you top the stairs and
Yeah.
you go all the way back to the front, the pink room, up there with the two beds. And I had my back against the wall. That's how I was sleeping. And somebody just, you know, reached in and full hand cuppage of that right butt cheek. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, I know there's no way nobody can be behind me. I'm just going to go back asleep and act like that did not.
Act like I didn't hear. Nothing happened.
that
Well,
is weird.
and Billy, you actually being physically touched is something that lots of people experience at that
Yeah.
location, and you were actually touched.
Yeah, I mean, again, well, you know, I didn't have a camera on me because I had a camera on Eric, but yes, I was literally had the camera in my hand, and I did have headphones on, but it just felt like something just brushed the back of my hair. And I wouldn't just say that. If anybody knows me, knows that I
You're a
wouldn't just say
skeptic.
that at all. Yeah.
And,
But
and
it
you-
legitimately did happen right when we were up in that room with
the
the
chair.
one chair in it. Yeah.
and you were standing right there in the doorway too.
I was right in the doorway. Yeah.
And we were the only other people in that building, and we were way far away from y'all. So.
I think
Yeah, we
y'all
were
were downstairs.
We were downstairs.
Mhm.
Yeah, we were doing,
And-
because that's when all the crazy shit was happening with us.
But then you remember, if you fast forward about 5 or 6 hours later, towards the end of the night, we were down in that same hallway, and we were getting all that crazy activity with like the gateway and other stuff, and they kept saying my name. It was
Yeah.
right in that same area. You know, like
We're not going to say what it called you.
well, not only that, just the fact they kept saying my name, I felt like it touched my hair there. But you know, I wish I would have just had something.
And that's something that's extremely common in that location is that they will pick who they want to talk to, and they may only want to talk to you down there and nowhere else in the building. They may want to talk to you in every part of the building, and sometimes they just wait for you to get in the room. They're like, "Hey, you come here."
Now,
Well,
did it wig you out hearing your name multiple times?
I was gonna say, Dan
No.
actually said in our comments real quick, he said one of our ladies, talking to you, Billy, one of our ladies, Billy, they touch my hair all the time there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so Dan's actually watching with us tonight. So
It didn't wear me out. Hear my name. It didn't freak me out or anything. But that's just me. Some people, maybe it would, but for me, it didn't.
Didn't bother
But it
you?
was interesting. And then all the stuff that was correlating with what Eric had filmed earlier with the two dolls and in that one room with the Jenny room and the fairy stuff with the milk and all that. It's kind of interesting if you really put those pieces of the puzzle together and think about it. So
I thought that was an interesting concept because I had never heard, I guess, story wise from anything at Olde Park that has to do with that concerning Jenny. Jenny creeps my ass out.
Well,
I ain't gonna lie, Jenny
Eric,
just creeps my ass out.
so Eric as you guys were going live on Facebook during that night, he was going live on TikTok, and he said that several people on his TikTok kept saying the same thing about fays, fairies, and how they, you know, they ask for milk and stuff. And he said he had never heard of that too. So
Mm-hmm.
again, that's just what people were saying, that they were equating Jenny to being a fae or a fairy or a spirit or whatnot of that. So that is interesting. I wonder if Dan has ever heard anything similar to
I don't
anything
know.
like that in the building.
We'll have to figure out if they have or anything. I don't know. Not that I've
Yeah.
ever been told. I'll say that. Not that the times that we've been there.
And then we were getting the word fae on the Ovilus too. Again, I don't put too much stock into it, but it was just weird that we were getting that.
If you have enough coincidences, you might
yeah,
actually have
exactly.
something going
I
on.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've definitely learned that.
So I'll tell you something, Billy, that I found very interesting, because the night number 2, we were in that
God.
library, and I was actually sitting where you had been sitting the night prior, and there was a guest that was sitting next to me, and we hear this bang, and I feel something hit my arm, and I think it's a book or something. I turn and look, but the girl who was sitting directly in front of that stand-up character, she actually had something hit her in the head. Now, I remember that character, it was holding a great big sickle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The sickle snapped in half.
It broke.
She was not touching it. It snapped in half, hit her in the head, hit me on the arm. And it was like something was trying to harm us, to hurt us. And we were like, Dan, we're like, this broke. Was this broken? And because you had that footage in the library, we can legitimately say that it was not broken prior to that moment.
Yeah. It was not. And I think if I remember correctly, Dan actually saw, I don't think he saw it actually bend and snap, but I think he caught the
something
after.
move.
I think he caught the after. I think he looked back just at the time that it was like falling. But yeah, I mean, and the girl that got hit, I mean,
she was not touching it.
Well, she's also been one that's been on multiple investigations with us. That, you know, she's one of those that she's there, she sits still, she's not rambunctious, she you know, just all that. So there's no logical explanation for
it
that.
And whenever it snapped like someone had neatly cut it in half. Wasn't jagged. It
y'all
just
didn't get that on
snapped.
video?
I had the camera pointing the other way. Of course I did.
Of course.
I should have stayed with y'all Saturday night. And
you should have. Because now
well,
we hold the record for the most scratches at Olde Park. Thanks, Billy.
Yeah.
I'm going to blame you.
Well, here's the thing. If I would have stayed with y'all Saturday night, this documentary would probably be a two-part, 4 hours, you know.
Well, you know what? Let me just tell you what, we'll go into that just a little bit to kind of tell you what you missed. So you had Shelly get scratched the first night that we were there, which was pretty insane. But we ended up having way more than that go on the second night. It first started off with one of our I call her pseudo regular guests. She was like, we were sitting outside and she's like, my neck is burning. And I pulled down her shirt in the back and just looked. And I think we actually have a picture of it. She has 2 scratch marks across the back of her neck. And so I was like, okay, so she got scratched. So we kind of went on with our business. And then later on in the night, we're all in the upstairs hallway, and another one of our guests comes out of the bathroom. And he's like, freaking check my back. And it looks like a freaking 2x4 clocked him.
Looks like somebody hit him with a belt across his back.
On the lower right side of his back.
It spans all the way across. It looks like something hit him with a belt.
Yeah. And that was done in the bathroom. And so we were like, okay, well, baby, we're done.
Wait, was he upstairs or downstairs?
He was upstairs. He was upstairs. He was in the bathroom. And he said he felt this horrible stinging sensation as he was coming out of the bathroom. And he had asked me, he's like, hey, look at my back, lift up my shirt.
Yeah.
And when I did, I was like, holy shit.
Man, that's
dude.
freaky right there.
Oh, but it gets better.
It gets better.
So we end up down at the end of the hallway upstairs running a dual Estes method, which we're actually going to play, not right now, but a little clip of that later on once we get to talking about it. But after that was done, we closed down that Estes method. And Brittany, our producer, actually, she was like, she stays very still. She just goes, my neck is burning. And I was like, oh, shit. So I walked over there and I clicked on a flashlight and I looked at her neck. And I mean, she got scratched almost exactly in the same spot Shelly did. But that wasn't it. we all go
It's
downstairs.
continued.
We're like, all right, we need to break up this energy. Let's all go downstairs. Let's all go get out and everything like that. So we all go downstairs. We all go outside. Brittany and Ryan and a couple of other guests stay inside. And Ryan, you were inside, so you tell this portion of the story.
So I'm sitting there, the couch is in the little Olde Park common area. We're all sitting there talking, and Brittany is sitting in a camping chair up in the corner, nothing around her back, and all of a sudden she just goes, ow, and jumps up, and she's like, something got my back. And we lift her shirt up, and just like claw marks going right across down her back. So
it went.
The strange thing was it went underneath her bra strap as well.
She was in full line of sight of me the whole time, and nothing in that room could have done that to her back like that.
So I have a theory. This was close to Halloween when we shot this. I mean, was it Freddy Krueger was there? Because everybody.
We have never had that many people, especially not guests, get scratched in one location ever. We were told we held the record for the most scratch, but it had one. We had one more.
Oh yeah, Ryan. Yeah.
And the next morning when we were leaving, the three of us were walking around. We were checking to make sure all the, there was no trash. And we stripped the beds for them, take it, get them and everything. And as we're starting to go down the stairs, Ryan just kind of does this and he goes, check my back. And I'm like, oh, really? You too? And he's got a scratch about this long right on his rib cage. And almost like a stab mark. And he's never been scratched before.
Only time I've ever been scratched on a location.
Wow.
So we held the record for the most scratches in 48 hours and all. Whatever
that one guy, Billy. That one guy's back was the most impressive to me. Oh my gosh!
Yeah. To me, it just looks like something just clocked him right up freaking side. I mean, I don't know. Like
what do y'all attribute that to? I mean,
you pissed it off.
What me? It was you, Shelly.
They didn't do anything different than they normally do to me.
Shelly said, "What me?
Wasn't me. Wasn't me. They always come after me."
I really should have stayed the second night. And I could have, and I should.
You could have. Because I'm telling you, this is one of those places that if you feed it the first night and you feed it with your energy.
Yeah.
Be ready. It is going to match you and top your energy the second night. And we were kind of like, after everybody left before the guests got there, we were like, y'all, we may be in for it. We got a lot of activity last night. And that just means it's even more ready tonight. Yeah.
Well, you know what that means. That just means that we have to go back and film Olde Park Part 2.
A two-nighter. A two-nighter. When you want to go, Billy?
I would definitely. I want to go back, and I got to bring my wife because she watched the whole Olde Park, and she don't watch all of my docs, but she watched that. And she's like, I really want to go on some of these.
You bring her, yes.
Bring her on.
Yeah, I definitely. I would love for her to be a part because she has a really good personality and stuff too. So I know she would do well in it. So, without a doubt, I want to go back there.
So you say when, and we'll find a spot.
That's right. That's definitely right. We'll figure it out. We'll do us a two-nighter there. Go ahead,
oh yeah. No, I was gonna say that's what I was just about to say was we'll just make sure we do a two-nighter there.
Oh, without a doubt. Next time.
Dan and Connie, I know you're listening. You may have to leave us the keys, Dan and Connie.
It's gonna be like part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5.
Yeah, it's like the Paranormal Activities.
Yeah, we're just gonna
run 7.
And I'm gonna tell you,
mini series on Olde Park.
That place, you absolutely could do it with the level of activity that's there. And I'll tell you something else happens. I know that the Estes method. What did you think of the Estes method that you saw me lead with Blake and Ryan?
So that's another thing. So I've actually done an Estes method myself at the Willows Weep house. I didn't put it in the documentary, but I actually did it with this group who was there investigating. And it was the first time I'd ever done it. And I didn't really know what I was doing. So I felt like when I was doing, I was like holding the headphones so tight. And I was wanting to hear something so bad, and I really wasn't hearing much of anything. So that was the only really impression I'd gotten of the Estes method. And all the other places I've been and docs I've done, I hadn't really done that. But I'm glad. I will say with that, I'm glad Eric was doing the SLS camera. Again, something again, I'm just being really honest. I mean, I don't. The map, I don't know. How do you explain those maps? He was getting some crazy maps, and it was going along with what you were saying, and the fact that your room was very near to where upstairs, very near where we were doing that at, and they were cussing at you, and
They always cuss at me.
I thought it was interesting. I thought it was very interesting. And then what was that one thing that kept going to red? Is it called a paralyte or whatever?
A paralyte, yes.
Yeah. How much stock do y'all put in that? Just out of curiosity.
That is a very difficult piece of equipment to set off.
It is.
And
Okay.
we have sat it somewhere for a whole evening somewhere, and it has never once even blipped.
Well, take it to we have set it somewhere in Olde Park for an entire night.
Never went off.
And it never went off. It just so happened that one night when we were just randomly roaming, just getting, a little bit of a shot in for some of our viewers and stuff, that we just set it on the table, and it was just,
it started going nuts.
It just answering us every single time.
Answering us on command.
On command, as Shelly was asking to take it to red, hold it to red, do this, okay, step away. And then, I mean, and what you see in the documentary is like a fraction of what the actual full time of that was. I think it went longer than that. I think we stayed in that place in that room for about 15-20 minutes.
Yeah.
But what was even more compelling was I couldn't stand it. When we walked back through, I looked at the guys and go, hang on, let's go in here because I've got to debunk this. And everybody stood in the exact same places. We put it in the exact same spot, and that thing did not make a peep. It never blipped once. And everybody went and stood the exact same spots. We put everything down where it was before, and it didn't make a noise. And then wherever y'all were in there, it didn't make a noise until everything else started happening.
Yeah.
And that to me, I love that particular piece of equipment because it's a visual and an audio alert. So if you aren't looking at it, you'll hear it.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
I put some pretty good stock into it. Just a short answer your question.
I don't think I'd ever been around that piece of equipment before that night. That's why I was asking that. So
but
I didn't really understand how that worked exactly.
I said, but with that going off, the SLS mapping in, and the answers we were getting, and the feeling of me being pushed down in that chair, it felt like something was on top of me, just pushing me down. And to get that mapped in with the paralyte and everything was just so intense.
Well, and then you were doing some weird movements too.
Yeah.
Remember?
Well, and just prior to that too,
was.
I had to get out of that corner because I'm like, I don't feel good. I feel like I'm getting trapped in here. I have to get out of here. And then all of a sudden, Blake's camera starts malfunctioning. Things aren't going right. I had to get out of that room because I was like, I don't feel good about being trapped in that corner. And what Ryan was feeling was exactly what I felt. It felt like something was just like pressing down on me, and knowing that I was going to have to open them. And if I open them, I have to close them. I could not take a chance. I had to get what it was off of me before we started doing that. So I left the room, and I'm like, no, I didn't leave in a panic. I was trying to get whatever it was to follow me out so we could do that,
That room's crazy because even before we did all that, me and Eric were down there doing some EVPs and stuff, and there was like this black orb that like went right by my back and stuff. And then on the EVP, it said, watch your back or something like that. So it was, I mean, again, I feel like the evidence we compiled along with, some stock evidence you guys have from previous investigations is pretty overwhelming, and it's hard to digest in one watching. To be honest with you, I think you need to watch it multiple times because I think you'll miss some stuff.
Oh yeah,
first watching.
Most definitely. So what's funny is I've actually got a little video that we want to show you because it's from the night that you were there, but we did not find this until well after. It's Shelly is in the I call it the library, other people call it the study, the Ouija board table room, whatever.
Yeah.
I just call it the library because of all the books that are in there.
Yeah.
So Shelly's in there by herself, and me and Ryan, we had gone
outside or upstairs.
I can't remember. We weren't anywhere near. And then you and Eric, it was when y'all were
in Henry's workshop.
Down in Henry's workshop.
Yeah.
Which that outtake is funny too, by the way.
Yeah, it is.
That was actually really funny.
What's his name? Keith or whatever.
Earl.
Earl, that was it.
Yeah.
Earl. They're like, no, it's Henry.
Me and Eric are like, apologize. Oh, we're sorry, spirits. We're calling you to
Eric seemed to be having a lot of problems with names that night.
Anyways, but Shelly's in that library room by herself, and y'all are all the way down. So I actually kind of want to play this clip for you because you hear a guy directly answer her, and it's kind of creepy in the way that he does it. Because she's like, I'm by myself. And then after she says that, she gets an answer. So I'm gonna have Brittany go ahead and play that clip for us.
Oh.
The Shelley's
Talk to me? Jimmy, are you here? Now don't go down there with them. Come down here with me. You got me all by myself.
That was it. What was that?
After I say you got me all by myself, it goes, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a guy. It's just a guy, and he goes, yeah. Like,
that's weird.
Oh, it just makes your skin crawl.
Jimmy just feels like gum on the bottom of your shoe. You know, whenever he's around, it feels like you need a shower after you've interacted with him.
Yeah.
So he's one that he always picks on me, but it's like, okay, he'll at least talk. So yeah,
I mean, to me, it seems like that room has the most activity. Is that you guys' opinion?
Depends on the night.
No, I would say that's my opinion. Every time that I've been, that's probably the room that I've gotten the most evidence out of. That room, I would say from that room to the back of the hallway. That whole area just seems to be pretty active in both downstairs and upstairs. Honestly, if you were to put a starting point on both hallways and go to the back of the hallway, from about there all the way to the back, upstairs and downstairs, for some reason, that's the most active area as the night goes on.
I'd second that. I'm with you on that.
Yeah, because it's either that portal area upstairs at the end of the hallway or that library downstairs, and it's all centered at the back of the hotel, where a lot of the stuff happens as the night goes on. Because that's where Shelley's caught a full body apparition on camera. I've caught a full body apparition on camera. I've been shoved, pushed. Shelley's been made to throw up. We've had another person want to throw up back there by sitting in that chair. I mean, all that crap.
We've walked into. Let's see, Ryan and you and I walked in there one time together, and within a few minutes, Ryan's like puts his hand on the wall. He's like, "Do you feel swimmy headed?" I feel swimmy headed, and I'm like, "No, I'm okay." And then I was like, "Well, if you don't feel good, let's go out of there." And about that time, my head it's like my eyes just kind of was like, "Whoa." It was like something just came, and it's like it made you feel very sick, gave you an immediate headache. And that room back there, if it doesn't want you in there, it lets you know really fast. It doesn't want you in there.
It's very interesting down there because you can just stand there and feel like a cold breeze coming from absolutely nowhere.
Which I believe Billy felt that too.
Yeah, we did that night because it was still very warm outside and warm in that building too. Even though it was October.
Yeah, it wasn't cold.
Yeah, it wasn't cold. Yeah. So there's again that's just one little piece of what I feel like is a huge amount of evidence that I like, again, with you guys' help and Eric's help. Like, I just love just putting that out there and letting people decipher themselves and make their own assessments from what we put out there. I'm not trying to convince someone one way or the other. So, but it was amazing.
I think that's the important part too, is that, I mean, I think that's why it meshes so well with what we were doing there that weekend, is that we all kind of believe that we're not trying to convince you one way or the other. We're just trying to show you what we've captured and what we believe it to be.
Olde Park will convince you.
But I say that in the documentary. I'm like, this is the one place, like, if I had a skeptic, I'm bringing them here because you're going to walk in a skeptic and leave a believer. I mean, it's just the way that it is. It's Olde Park, you know. God, I just love that place.
Have y'all been back since or no?
We are going in 3 weeks.
No, April. Yeah, we're taking a public group for a 2-night investigation in April.
And they're staying both nights with us.
Yeah,
that'll be the first time since we were there.
Yeah, that'll be the first time since we were there, and then I think we're going to end up back there in October, and we've already been talking about trying to put it on the calendar again as a private, so that we can have a little bit of time to, because as much as we love to take our people,
right? West Texas Paracon.
Well, yeah, we have what? So that was the other thing. They have the West Texas Paracon that I was going to mention that's coming up in May the 12th and the 13th. And Dan just said, "I'm there all the time. I'm definitely a believer."
We know you are, Dan.
Yeah.
We know you are.
Yeah. But they have West Texas Paracon coming up in Ballinger on May 12th and the 13th. It's going to be that weekend. So they're going to have a bunch of great names are going to be there. We'll be there speaking about and showcasing our evidence from Olde Park Hotel. You're also going to have Natalie Jones that's going to be there. She's the CEO and founder of Paraflix. You're going to have John Zaffis, who's also going to be there, and a bunch
The
of
guys
other,
from Ghost Lab are going to be there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
well, the Ghost Brothers. Not Ghost Brothers.
Guys from Ghost Lab.
Sorry, they have an event with the Ghost Brothers coming
That's
up
right.
too. My goodness, just go check out their calendar, okay?
Yeah, go check out their website.
No, but
we'll be there a couple times.
yeah. But I mean, if you West Texas Paracon, shout out and a shameless plug, real quick. Go follow West Texas Paracon 2023 on Facebook. They have all the updates there on how to get your tickets. They're going to have ghost hunts for both Olde Park and the jail across the street. It's going to be a great time. We're going to have a lot of fun. Can't wait to go to that. So yeah, that would be. God, we'll be going back 3 times this year, and if we put a fourth, another
Oh,
investigation,
we're going to put another one on there.
We know we
why
are.
we even saying yes?
we know where. Which if we go do a double night, Billy, I mean,
Yeah, Billy.
if it's by ourselves, yeah, you're more than welcome to.
Oh, definitely. If
to come
you know,
jump on that.
You can bring your honey.
my schedule were allowed, yeah, definitely would be in. I think I mentioned to you, Blake. I wish y'all could. I know there's a lot going on that weekend of the West Texas Paracon, but I wish I could do a screening of the doc that we did. I think that would.
Dan is on here. Dan.
Y'all more than welcome to do it if you could get it organized and figured out.
Dan.
Bueller. Yeah. No, I mean it definitely would be interesting for I mean, we obviously can't make that call. I mean, it's not
Dan.
He gets it, Shelly. He gets it.
I know.
He understands. But no, maybe we could shoot a message and just see if maybe there is even room to organize something like that or get something going like that.
If not a big deal.
I was gonna say, and if there is, then yeah, I mean, because we're gonna be there. Like I said, we're gonna be showcasing our best evidence captured at Olde Park prior to people going and investigating Olde Park. So it's going to be kind of like, hey, this is where you're going tonight. This is what you could capture. That would be kind of cool to be like, hey, watch this documentary. Here's also what could happen to you. You get scratched across the neck there, buddy boy.
Where is he having the Paracon at? Is there like a convention center or hotel or somewhere, or is he having it in Olde Park?
No,
it's like a. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's not in Olde Park. They have like a my brain just blanked.
I think it's like a like
Western
like an old West town out
yes,
there
thank you, Ryan. That's where
Yeah.
I was going for. That they're going to be teaming up with, and that's where they're going to be kind of holding it at and doing all the speaking stuff and everything with the investigations to be at Olde Park and the jail that night. So,
Cool.
yeah, it's going to be a heck of a lot of fun, and super affordable too for those who are interested. I'm gonna go plug it throughout this whole episode. Shamelessly plug it.
Well, we do have another piece of evidence we'd kind of like to show Billy about what happens down at the end of the hallway where he Billy, this is something else that happened after you left. You really should have stayed.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Dan just said it's at the Old Town Old Times venue is what it's called. Is where it's at. I couldn't remember the name of it. So yeah, we had what we did was speaking of Estes.
Hi, Milo.
There's Milo. He just snuck into the room.
Hey, buddy.
I always want to get on camera. Look, you say hey.
Hi, Milo. Who's a good boy?
Oh.
Hey, look, another plague. Our first animal on screen.
That's right.
Yes.
So we ended up doing a dual Estes. Now that down at the end of the hall where the portal's at, we set 2 people up down there, Shelly and another one of her, we call her our sometime investigator, Rhonda. And we put them both under. And what unfolded after that, and this is actually kind of a large file, so I'm going to have to pull it up off my computer. But what was interesting about that was this Estes method was completely based on movements and not questions that are being asked. And I think it was one of the first times that Shelly thought that she actually was about to get jumped.
Yeah, that's the closest I've ever been to getting jumped ever during an Estes method. Go ahead.
Yeah. So let me get it pulled up real quick.
Oh, okay. I thought you were ready. I was like, I need to shut up and quit talking and quit being so damn wordy. Now, at the end of the hall, we had been doing this, and literally, I'm pretty good about knowing when to raise my hand and tap out of an Estes method. And I kept thinking they're going to pull me any minute. They're going to pull me any minute. I don't have to tap out, but I got to where I was only hearing one voice talking.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even hear the static anymore. And I kept thinking, oh, this is not good.
wow.
Oh, this is not good. This is not good. And I was just saying whatever it was that came into my head. So if you're ready,
Yeah.
Blake, you can play it.
Yeah. So just watch this.
What do you want?
Whoa.
What do you want? That was a male. He's like, what do you want?
Point right at
Yeah, so, I mean,
Don't start.
I would just like to know your name.
He's aggressive,
Can you just give me your name, please?
but he's talking really fast.
You decide.
Decide what?
Oh, you won't like it. You
Here's
won't
some
like
more.
it. Whatever it is, you won't like it.
And your name? Give me your name, please.
Fuck him. Fuck him. Fuck him. Fuck him. It was fucking fuck him.
There's absolutely no,
No
way
way, she knows where you're at,
where I'm
where your position
Absolutely
is.
No way.
It just said none of that.
Okay.
You
None
know.
of that.
Like, change positions.
I'll bet.
Where's Blake at?
Point.
My right stop. My right stop.
Wow.
My right stop.
You were moving that way? Bruh.
Help me. Hey.
How can we help you? Why do I need to stop? Why do I need to stop?
He does not like whoever's over here. He does not like them.
Blake, move to the other side of the hall.
The other side of the hallway.
Where's Blake?
Where am I?
Don't move. He saw you move. If you moved, he saw you. He said, don't move.
Help me.
To my right. He keeps saying to my right. To my right.
Where am I at? Where am I at? Have Shelly point directly at
He
me.
said, very funny.
Just sway inside the cell.
Alright.
And don't play. He said, don't play with me.
Oh, wow.
I was being a bit of a dick. I apologize.
Yeah, I can't. I don't know how to explain that. I mean,
Yeah.
she's fully blindfolded. She got earphones on. I mean,
Yeah.
there's me and that other guest that we had switching spots, going back and forth and everything. So people who want to argue, oh, she can feel the floorboards. Number one, she's in a chair off the floor. There's multiple people moving around. It was
would have been difficult.
yeah, it was the
Mhm.
weirdest damn thing, you know. And
That was bizarre.
just
Just giving
pointing,
direct answers right
Yeah.
to you
and
as you're moving.
yeah, the part that got me was the don't move. He saw you move. I was
And you know
like,
what? My head never changed position. Whenever I do this, I
Mhm.
usually put my head to one side and I just hold it there. And then if I feel like I need to move it or turn it, I will. But normally, I mean, like you can see my head is pretty much to the same side when I'm talking. It's going this way. And it's not like I'm like trying to find, oh, where did he go? You know, my head isn't moving, you know?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like,
yeah.
That was the next night.
that was the second
That was the
night.
next night. That was the
But
second night. Yeah.
What I found was the funniest part was that at one point, Blake turns around and he does like this and he's facing the camera and he goes, I'm not going to ask any questions. I'm just going to see what she does. And through my headphones, I heard kick him. And I said, he just
gosh.
said kick him. I could have kicked him. He had his butt to me. I
Yeah,
could have
yeah.
kicked him right there. But that's all I heard. I heard kick him.
Yeah.
And I go,
Yeah.
hey, it said kick him. Don't worry. I ain't going to kick nobody. I don't know. But he
Who do you
literally
think? Who do you think that was communicating with you?
I really don't know. It was
Yeah.
not Deacon. I know Deacon's voice, and it was not Deacon. And I don't really think it was Jimmy, because Jimmy, I call him Jimmy the Weasel because the first time we ever got his name through the spirit box, I said Jimmy, and the spirit box goes, he's a weasel. I'm like, okay, Jimmy the Weasel, got it. But it was somebody else. I didn't reckon. I think Jimmy would have tried to do something more to me physically, and it wasn't Deacon's voice. It wasn't the voice I know to be Deacon. So I don't know who it was, but he decided he did not like Blake. So,
Yeah.
No,
That was
he did not.
crazy.
Yeah, so you talk about crazy Estises, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
SSCs, I don't know. Anyways,
Estes 1 2 3 Estes
There
1
you
2
go.
3.
Estes 1 2 3. Yeah, if anybody knows the actual plural term of Estes, let us know. I think it's like octopi, but whatever. So, anything else? I mean, of that night, Billy, that just sticks out to
No.
you? That was just crazy,
No. Again, don't want to try to give away
right?
everything. I you know, I know I said it a couple of times, but I feel like what we captured again, along with some of you guys' other evidence that you so graciously shared with us to be able to put in the doc. I think it turned it into a pretty compelling documentary and a film, and and it's long. I mean, it is long, but
But you are, I'm going to tell you, I was fascinated from word go.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know what angle and spin. And by the way, you guys, let me tell you this. He's saying our stock footage, he used 2 pictures. Everything else was captured
Everything
that
else
night.
was for
Yeah.
that night.
He
Yeah,
used 2
yeah.
pictures.
Yeah.
That's our stock footage he's talking
Yeah.
about. 2 pictures. The rest of it happened that night.
Yeah,
Yeah.
while we were in
So
there.
that's
Yeah.
you know, everything that you're saying happened that night except for 2 pictures. So
yeah.
But it came out absolutely fantastic. Like everything.
Thank you.
I was thoroughly impressed, man. You were a killer at what you do.
yeah, you were a
So,
very
Thank
good
you.
storyteller
Yeah.
in it. And
Yeah.
Well, you guys gave me great interviews, and like I said earlier, Dan as well, and Connie too.
Mhm.
And Eric he's a great interview as
Mhm.
well, and he always adds a lot
Yeah.
to it. But what I like as a filmmaker more than anything too is not only correlating the history with the evidence, but I love an interview kind of leading into a piece of evidence or taking you out and trying to get people's fresh perspectives on something that just happened too. And I think there was a lot of that in this, and I try to do a lot of that in a lot of the original docs that we produce and stuff. And I was very surprised. I didn't think, and I'm always like this. I never think that we have enough, or not enough, or that it's going to be good enough when I go, you know, to put it together. I'm always pleasantly surprised by what actually comes across. So,
Mhm.
but you know, that being said, it's like just putting a big puzzle together because you just got
Yeah.
all these raw interviews and all these hours of investigating, and to finagle it all together is no easy task. But luckily, I've been blessed enough that I feel like that's what I was put here to do, and I'm very thankful for that, and thankful for groups like you guys and others that I work with to you know, to meet me at the locations and to help me put these stories together. And I'm just so excited for others to try to take them on the inside. I guess as a filmmaker too, I like to try to want the viewer to kind of feel like they're there and they're actually in the building, and hopefully we can accomplish that with this particular one.
I think that was that you definitely did accomplish that. Like
Mhm.
I was in it. I kept seeing myself on screen, and I was
Yeah.
entertained from start to finish. Like I
Yeah.
was like, wait, I lived this. I was there, but
Mhm.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have to tell you, there were a couple of times some of the things you showed, and even though, like I said, I was in the moment, I got chilled up watching it. So you actually
Yeah.
did a very good job of
Yeah.
putting me in that moment, even though I'd already been there. I think one thing that you and Erica caught upstairs, I'm like, oh, I've heard that voice before, and I got all chilled up, and I'm like, oh, I know whose voice that is, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that
Yeah.
here that was caught, that is Deacon's voice. That's
I
Deacon's
know.
voice. It
And
is.
it's
It actually
I
is Deacon's voice.
and this, yeah, that thing that Eric does, his Clover method, which I think is one of the things he kind of came up with, is very interesting. And we explain in the documentary. I don't want to
Mhm.
butcher it right
Yeah.
now, but it's 2 different recordings on 2 different frequencies, and you may hear something on one, but then on playback, where you clearly heard it on the one device in real time, but on playback, it's not there, which is kind of fascinating to me. And some of that stuff is clear as day.
Yeah.
So
That
Mhm.
that's an interesting experiment method that he uses.
It is.
Definitely. So, and a very interesting moment in the documentary because you get some crystal clear stuff in that
I
moment.
know. And then,
Yeah.
I mean, we got screamed at. I mean, they're like I said,
And that Estes method, as many times as we had different noises coming from places we couldn't identify, that was crazy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about
We were
hearing
growled
the
at and
noise.
screamed
Yeah,
at.
Yeah.
Now,
Other
no, granted, I had to obviously enhance the audio, but it was certainly
we all
there.
in
It
the
was about 3 or
moment
4
heard it.
times. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, obviously Ryan and Blake wouldn't have heard it, but
Yeah,
me,
no.
you, and
Yeah.
Eric,
Mm-hmm.
clear as day heard that, and I don't think Dan or anybody else was in the building at that time. That was, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That those noises just came out of nowhere. So
Yeah.
it's crazy. Yeah, I definitely want to go back. I want to go back, and next time, we're definitely staying 2 days.
Hot
Well,
dog.
well,
Heck
come on,
yeah.
man. We
Well,
got you if you want to come.
I think
Right.
that
Definitely.
Billy, didn't you have something for Ryan and Shelly that you wanted to
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
show them?
And for
What?
Dan
What?
and for everybody else.
And for
watching.
Dan and for everybody watching. We're
Yeah.
just we're not even gonna say anything. We're just let me get this loaded up. We're just gonna go ahead and play it.
Yeah.
So
Whenever you're ready, Blake.
yeah, got you. So here you go.
I'm
Here you
afraid.
go.
There's a whole lot factoring in to the haunt here. That's not just the building. This is one of those few locations where you never know what you're gonna get.
It's the one place that I say, if you've got a skeptic, bring them here and they're gonna leave a believer.
So anyway,
Oh.
yeah. So I threw together another little quick minute, little second trailer today.
love
and I sent
it.
to
Yeah.
Blake, and I'll release it on, on social media and stuff too. Maybe
Love it.
tonight or in the morning. I'm getting kind of tired now, but
Yes, we've kept you up late past your bedtime.
Yeah. Yeah.
well, in the documentary it says something about running. Now that had probably several meanings, but I actually woke up so stupid. I woke up at 3 o'clock and went for a 5-mile run this morning. So I've been up since.
Woo!
I don't know why. And that's the witching hour too. Like, it takes me an hour
You
to
know
do
what's
that.
Yeah.
funny? Does that happen to you a lot? Because the first time that ever started happening to me was after the first time I went to Olde Park, where I would wake up randomly at 3 a.m.
It's before Old Park. I wake up
Mm.
super early because
Okay.
where I live, there's a lot of traffic, and if I go and run in the middle of the night, I don't have to worry about getting hit by a car. But anyway, yeah. So so cut a little 1-minute trailer out, throw it up, and I just
So
hope,
excited.
So cool.
hoping that it gets people excited
Oh heck yeah. Yeah.
about the doc, and I want some real feedback on after everybody watches on Friday night. And we're gonna release it 7 o'clock Friday night, 7 o'clock Eastern time, on scarenetwork.tv. So I'm just excited for everybody to take a look at it and see what people think about it.
Well, and again, if you want to watch it, y'all can go find scarenetwork.tv on, like Billy was saying, on your desktop, on your phone, on your
Roku. Amazon Fire Stick.
And you guys,
iOS.
it's $5 a month. Download the app.
Yeah.
You can't go to the movies for $5. And this one, you'll actually really be entertained. You won't want to ask for your money back. And if you don't like this one, you know what? There's a whole bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
Go and do it. Go and watch it all.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, the next few months it's going to get even better with what we have coming out. Like I said, we'll come back, and I'm so excited about the things that are happening with this platform. And we're such a baby with the Scare Network too, that we just have so far to go. And again, sincere thanks to you guys for inviting me out there and taking your time and energy and efforts. And whatnot. And I'm glad we were able to document what we did and kind of put it together.
Absolutely.
I'm excited
Yeah.
for everybody to see it.
Will you
Man,
come on
with-
back and we'll do it again? We'll get you a part 2 and 3.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely.
And man, with you at the helm, it's going to go to the friggin' moon.
I
And
agree.
we can't wait to see what happens next with Scare Network.
I know.
And thank
I
you for letting us
appreciate
be
it.
part of it. We're
Oh
having
yeah,
a blast
yeah,
doing
yeah.
it.
We're having a blast doing it with you and hanging in there with you. And see, you can also go and watch our Yorktown documentary
That's
too.
right.
I know.
That we're
I know.
part of. You know, all of our fans and viewers.
I'm sorry,
and listeners.
Billy. When were we doing this again? I'm sorry. I don't think I heard you.
We'll get there. We'll stay in touch.
Yorktown was a very underrated doc that I feel like a lot of our docs haven't gotten their just due, but
They
as it grows, they will. They'll get seen and get
Absolutely.
more eyes
Yeah.
on them and stuff. And we need to talk, Blake. You mentioned some other locations too that we need to talk about.
Mhm.
Sure do. Yep. We
So-
need to get on those because we'll get you a place that we have the exclusive on. That
We
are
have
the-
one more and definitely a second that
Yeah.
we're.
Yeah,
that we're trying for you. So, but
Definitely.
we definitely want to get you in the place where we've got the exclusive on to get you in, because we've got, just like Old Park, we've got ample evidence already
Yep.
from
Yep.
that place
Mhm.
that could obviously help. So, well, any last question, guys, for Billy before we wrap this up? I know he went on a 5-mile run at 3 a.m. So I know he's tired.
and I've had a little bit of a chest cold the last
Oh,
couple
man.
of days.
Oh,
too.
man.
Sorry.
Oh,
Mm.
oh, good.
Yeah.
Oh, good. I can't complain about anything. So,
Yeah.
And-
Well, I just want to say that I'm very happy that you came on. Thank you so much for being our first
Absolutely.
repeat guest. We have an absolute blast when we go and investigate with you,
yeah,
and love having you on here. And can't wait to see you back for the third one.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can't wait to come back.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Well, hang tight for just a little bit. Let us wrap
All right.
this up, and we'll give you a proper thanks and sign off as well. So,
Sounds good.
Tell them everything
What-
they need to know.
Yep, whatever social media channel you're watching us from, we're not just on the social media channel. Make sure you go follow us across the board. We got some things that are coming out. They're going to be exclusive to certain social channels that we have. Find our link tree in our descriptions or on our About Me or bio sections on our pages. Be taken to wherever you want to go. That includes also our Patreon page where you can get just under $100 or $100 videos for $5 a month. And our public investigations. Yeah. The only one that we have available right now for ticket purchases is the other 2-night at Olde Park in October, where we are going to open the jail for that night. We will coordinate that with Dan and Connie and get that set up. So make sure you go check that out. And of course, any comments, questions, or stories you want us to know or hear, share, send those to the evppod@gmail.com. That's THEEVPPOD@gmail.com.
Like, share, and subscribe.
Absolutely. Well, y'all, thank y'all so much for joining us for another week. For myself, I'm Blake Smith. My partners in the paranormal, Miss Shelley Pruitt, Mr. Ryan Roberts, Brittany, our producer in the green room, pushing all the buttons and answering all the comments. And of course, our very special guest this week, Mr. Billy Lewis. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, guys.
As always, we will see you next Tuesday.
Bye, y'all.